Hey there, and welcome to the Cyber Resilience Brief, a SafeBreach podcast, the podcast that's all about helping you build real-world cyber resilience. I'm Tova Dvorin, and every episode we unpack what's working, what's evolving, and what you can actually do to stay one step ahead of attackers. Hi, everybody. Today we have two very important guests. It's Tomer Bar, Vice President of Security Research at SafeBreach, and Shelly Zucker, Product Manager at SafeBreach. Thank you so much for being on the show today.
Pleasure to be here.
My pleasure too.
So today we're going to discuss a lot of topics, but among them AI-generated attacks, the rise of AI in different attacks, a lot of interesting material. Let me give you a quick brief on what the background is for this episode. Palo Alto Networks brought us two different important pieces of information over the last 3 months. This is early 2025. One is the rapid execution of ransomware attacks using AI agents. Cybersecurity researchers at Palo Alto demonstrated the AI agents can now execute a full ransomware attack all the way from initial breach to data exfiltration in only 25 minutes. This is 100 times faster than the average duration for such attacks in the last year to year and a half. This study underscores how AI can dramatically accelerate cyber attacks, making them more efficient and harder to detect. And they warned us that now that AI is being integrated into cyber threats, it could cost cybersecurity companies and potential victims $57 billion in 2025 alone. And you know what? Just 2 months later, we received another update in their annual State of Generative AI report from Palo Alto Networks that there is an 890% increase in the use of Gen AI applications within organizations. Most companies are using 66 different Gen AI tools, sometimes deploying hundreds of tools. And that's led to a 2.5 times increase in data security incidents linked to these tools. So we're going to talk a little bit to Shelly and to Tomer today about what that means for you, our guests, our customers, and to anyone who's looking into being able to protect their business against these types of cybersecurity attacks. So let's start by speaking a little bit about what these attacks mean and what it means for us as a breach and attack simulation provider. Tomer, what can you tell us about these new AI-driven threats, and do you think that legacy detection and IR tools can keep up with it?
Of course, Tova. So AI is definitely in the headlines and it's bringing a lot of value for humankind, but might also be used by hackers for enhanced cyber attacks. What is the main risk? The main risk is that LLMs lowers the bar for anyone who doesn't necessarily have developing nor hacking capabilities, but now can use AI to automatically generate ransomware or any types of malware by just asking the AI via a prompt in his natural language, so it can be English, to generate a malware and just use the auto-generated malware for cyber attacks. So the common assumption is that the scale of the attacks and the number of different variants will increase dramatically, and defenders need to prepare.
Right, so instead of having a specialist in adversarial techniques, now anyone who can command language and has access basically to a ChatGPT type tool can create an attack. It's the dark side of vibe coding. Would you say that?
Totally agree.
Okay. So how does one fight this at scale? What are we looking at here? You know, does this mean that we have to move to what I would call AI-aware breach and attack simulation?
Yeah, I believe that we need to use fire against fire, fire with fire. And in order to validate the real risk, you need to simulate a real example of malware generated by a real LLM's tools.
Let's talk a little bit about how we do that on a practical level here at SafeBreach. Shelly, what has SafeBreach done to be able to address this growing threat?
Yeah. So at SafeBreach, our core mission has always been to help organizations proactively validate their security defenses, right? And that's not just against known threats, but against what's emerging too. And what we saw in the past year, like Tomer and you, Tova, talked about, is this fundamental shift in how adversaries are now using generative AI tools to create these tailored, evasive, and most importantly, fast-changing malware. And that's just not a theory anymore. It's become reality. We've seen real-world incidents where AI was used to modify malware payloads and evade detections and even automate entire attack chains. And like you guys discussed about, it's part of the reason Palo Alto's Unit 42 reported that AI-assisted attacks were a growing feature in major breaches in 2025. So we here at SafeBreach knew we couldn't wait for threat intel to catch up. We had to build it ourselves. So what we did at SafeBreach was engineer this new attack category of AI-generated malware. It was created directly through carefully crafted ChatGPT prompts, the same kind an adversary might use. Again, we're talking about lowering the bar. So it's someone that just focused on just like a simple chat with ChatGPT and craft an entire new attack from it. So we focused on three major categories in this new scenario category. First one is an infostealer, the second one is spyware, and third one is ransomware. And these aren't just repackaged legacy samples.
So our auto-generated spyware actually is a full surveillance tool, and it can record the screen for every 5 seconds. It can keylog every keystrokes the user type. It can collect files and exfiltrate all of them to the C2 server. So it's a full surveillance tool just generated by AI in just a single prompt.
They're actually unique binaries and scripts generated or mutated using these generative AI models. In many cases, we deliberately included indicators that would avoid this traditional static detection, like changing strings or hashes or file names and encryption routines. We validated these, of course, through real-world security stats to confirm that they were realistic and effective. And from a technical standpoint, it wasn't as simple as saying write malware to a chatbot. Anyone who's tried it will result in the chatbot saying, I cannot generate malware for you. So obviously there are guardrails. So we engineered the prompts in a way that mirrored how attackers break down functionality. We asked the model to write them in a single prompt, which is of course displayed to our customers until we reach and really crafted the perfect prompt that, just like with a 60 seconds of thought from the chatbot, created this entirely new attack. And the reason we went through all of this effort is simple. Kind of brings us back to what we talked about at the beginning of this conversation. Defenders need a safe way to test how well their security tools stand up against these AI era threats, right? So if an attacker can now generate a fully functional stealer or ransomware in under a minute, mutated 10 times to avoid hashes, and launch it with minimal infra, then traditional defenses aren't going to cut it anymore. Detection has to evolve, and the only way to know if you're ready for it is to stimulate those types of attacks patterns. So that's what we built. Our platform now includes these AI-generated attacks that let teams test against this new wave of threats. And of course, it's all done safely and continuously and with full visibility into what could happen, what would happen in a real environment.
Wow, thank you, Shelly. I'm sure that took a lot of time and research work. So, Tomer, are you ready to tell us anything about what building those looked like from the research side? Was it different than building other previous attacks?
Of course, yeah, it was a little bit different. And just to add color on what Shelly said, so we took the first variant that we managed to generate, the ransomware variant, without changing strings and stuff like that, and just upload it to VirusTotal to test it with at least 70 different security vendors. And actually, the results were scary because half of the security controls missed the auto-generated ransomware. And why it's scary? Because if half of the security code detect it, it means it's a real threat, and half missed it. So it means you have 50% missing the first variant. It's not the most sophisticated one we used at the end. So I believe it's a different research, it's a different process, and a different outcomes, which I think if you ask most of the people in this industry 5 years ago, could it be in 5 years everybody can generate malwares that evade 50% of the security control in just 1 minute, just one prompt automatically? They'll say no chance. So we are living in a new area, and we need to have new capabilities to handle those new threats.
Yeah, and we've gone all in on our AI generated research when it comes to breach and attack simulation, right? I mean, we have an upcoming talk at Black Hat talking about Gemini and how AI ends up being involved there. I mean, any sneak peeks you can give us?
I'm not sure that I can share stuff, but I can promise that it's going to be a very new breaking research that for the first time you can reach out of the cyber world using AI and affect the physical world. For example, controlling your smart home by just doing one indirect prompt injection. So think of you sitting at home, relaxing, and someone just can control your lights and boiler and air condition and all the things that are connected to the smart home. So be tuned because we are going to share a lot of examples in our Black Attack.
Yeah, we're really looking forward to hearing that in a few weeks. Wow, that is both impressive and scary. I'm just curious. I mean, was this effort the result of multiple customer requests? Was there a specific attack that inspired this? Well, what was the inspiration for creating these scenarios and launching this big project?
So we do speak with our customers on a regular basis, and they, of course, are also aware of the risks of AI and LLMs. We took it to the next level by generating the malwares and the specific type of threats and providing our customer a way to test different tests against their security posture.
Wow, and do we have any early user data about that?
So we, of course, we're always tracking what our customers like and what content they are using. As most of our customers will use, in the end, they will use the scenarios that are relevant to them, right? And we have customers from all industries. We have customers from the financial sector and the healthcare sector and aerospace or pharmaceutical, you name it. And the very interesting thing we saw is that all customers were really intrigued and curious and have run multiple times this AI attack scenario. Of course, we've heard some people reference to it as a buzzword scenario, but once we actually talk to them about the importance of this and the relevance of this in a world where, as Tomer said, the bar has been lowered that low as like 12-year-old with a keyboard and a ChatGPT prescription and a sophisticated prompt can generate these types of malwares, and the threat it imposes, because these are not known malwares, right? They can be generated like very differently with every iteration. So once customers have understood that this is not just a buzzword but an actual threat, I think they really adopted this and started running this. And every scenario that we released, whether it be the infostealer or the ransomware or the spyware, has in several weeks peaked to our top running scenario by customers. And I really think that shows how relevant this is and how, if you are an enterprise grade customer, you should be alert and testing against this kind of threat.
Well said, Shelly. Thank you so much. Well, we're coming up on time. Thank you so much, Shelly and Tomer, for being here. Is there anything else you want to say before we wrap up?
Oh, thank you for the opportunity to share our coverage for our customer.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you, Tova, and thank you for listening, everyone.
The Cyber Resilience Brief is a SafeBreach podcast. It's produced by Tova Dvorin and executive produced by Adrian Cully. Sound design provided by Adobe Podcasts. Distribution provided by Podbean, and extra support and love from the SafeBreach team. For more information on how adversarial exposure validation through SafeBreach can protect you and your business, no matter where you reside or what industry you're in, please visit us at www.safebreach.com.